Flippville Flapjack Fiasco, a recipe for justice. The sun rose over the small town of Flippville, casting a warm glow over the quaint streets and homes. Jack, a curious and adventurous 12-year-old, walked down the main street, taking in the sights and smells of the morning. He passed by the local diner, Mom's Morning Treats, where his best friend Emma worked with her mom to serve up the town's favorite breakfast dishes. The aroma of freshly cooked pancakes wafted out of the diner, making Jack's stomach grow with hunger. As he approached the diner, Jack noticed a sign on the door that read, "Closed until further notice." Confused and concerned, Jack pushed open the door to find Emma frantically searching through a stack of papers and recipe books. "What's wrong, Em?" Jack asked, noticing the worried look on her face. Emma looked up at Jack with tears in her eyes. "Someone stole our secret pancake recipe. Without it, we can't make our famous Flippville Flapjacks, and the diner might go out of business." Jack's eyes widened in shock. He knew how much the diner meant to Emma and her mom. "Don't worry, Em," Jack said determinedly. "We'll find that recipe and get it back for you." The two friends began brainstorming ideas on where to start their search. They decided to visit the town's most notorious breakfast spots, interviewing suspects and gathering information. As they walked down the street, Jack noticed a suspicious character lurking around the corner of the local bakery. "Hey, Em, look over there," Jack whispered, nodding towards the shady figure. "That looks like Ricky, the recipe thief Reed." Ricky was known for stealing recipes from restaurants and diners all over town. Could he be behind the stolen pancake recipe? Jack and Emma exchanged a determined glance, ready to start their investigation and get the recipe back. Jack and Emma quickly came up with a plan to sneak into Ricky's bakery and snoop around for clues. They snuck in through the back door, trying not to make any noise as they made their way past the rows of mixing bowls and baking sheets. Ricky was busy decorating a cake at the front counter, oblivious to the two sleuths sneaking around his kitchen. Emma motioned for Jack to follow her, and they crept towards Ricky's office in the back. Inside, they found a stack of recipe books and papers scattered all over the desk. Jack started flipping through the pages, searching for any sign of the stolen pancake recipe. Suddenly, Emma gasped and grabbed Jack's arm. "Look at this," she whispered, pointing to a page with a familiar logo on it. The logo belonged to Mr. Flapjack, the owner of the rival diner that had been trying to steal Mom's Morning Treats customers. "This must be the proof we need," Jack said, his eyes wide with excitement. Just as they were about to leave, Ricky burst into the office, a look of anger on his face. "What do you two think you're doing?" he growled. Jack and Emma tried to come up with an excuse, but before they could say anything, Ricky's expression changed from anger to surprise. "Wait a minute. I know what you're looking for," Ricky said, a sly grin spreading across his face. "And I can help you find it." Jack and Emma exchanged a skeptical glance, unsure if they could trust Ricky or not. Ricky leaned in, a conspiratorial look on his face. "But we need to get out of here first. Meet me at the old windmill on the outskirts of town at midnight." With that, Ricky ushered them out of the bakery, leaving Jack and Emma wondering what they had just gotten themselves into. As they walked back to Mom's Morning Treats, they couldn't help but feel a sense of excitement and trepidation about what lay ahead. The clock struck midnight, and Jack and Emma made their way to the old windmill on the outskirts of town. Ricky was waiting for them, a flashlight in hand. "Follow me," he said, leading them deep into the abandoned windmill. Inside, they found themselves surrounded by stacks of crates and boxes. Ricky started rummaging through one of the crates, pulling out a small notebook. "This is it," he said, handing the notebook to Emma. "The original recipe for Mom's Morning Treats' famous Flippville Flapjacks." But as they began to flip through the pages, they realized that something was off. The recipe looked different from what they remembered. "This isn't the real recipe," Emma said, her voice shaking with anger. Ricky's grin returned, wider than ever. "Oh, but it is. This is the recipe Mr. Flapjack commissioned me to create. A fake recipe, designed to sabotage Mom's Morning Treats." Jack and Emma exchanged a shocked glance. They had been played. Ricky chuckled, clearly pleased with himself. "And now, if you'll excuse me, I have some important business to attend to." With that, he disappeared into the darkness, leaving Jack and Emma to ponder their next move. The abandoned warehouse loomed before them, its windows like empty eyes staring back. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he and Emma crept towards the entrance, their flashlights casting eerie shadows on the walls. "Are you sure this is where Ricky said to meet?" Emma whispered, her voice trembling slightly. Jack nodded, his eyes fixed on the door. "This has to be it. He wouldn't have given us a fake lead." They pushed open the creaky door and stepped inside, their lights scanning the dim interior. The air was thick with dust and the smell of decay. Suddenly, a figure emerged from the shadows, the Ricky, a sly grin spreading across his face. "Welcome to the final showdown," he said, his eyes glinting with malice. "You'll never leave this place with the recipe." Jack and Emma exchanged a determined glance. They weren't going down without a fight. Ricky snapped his fingers, and two burly men stepped out of the shadows, blocking their way. "Meet my friends," Ricky said, chuckling. "They'll make sure you don't interfere with my plans." Jack's eyes darted around the room, searching for an escape route or a weakness in Ricky's plan. That's when he spotted it, a large vat of pancake batter in the corner, precariously balanced on a rickety table. "Emma, I have an idea," Jack whispered, his eyes locked on the vat. "Can you create a diversion?" Emma nodded, a mischievous glint in her eye. "Leave that to me." With a sudden burst of speed, Emma sprinted towards Ricky's henchmen, dodging their clumsy grabs with ease. Ricky shouted, his face reddening with rage. "Stop them." As the chaos erupted around him, Jack made a beeline for the pancake batter vat. With a swift kick, he sent the table crashing to the ground, sending the batter splattering everywhere. The room erupted into pandemonium as Ricky's henchmen slipped and slid on the slick floor, their attempts to grab Jack and Emma foiled by the sticky batter. Ricky himself stumbled backwards, his eyes wide with horror as he realized his plan was unraveling. Jack and Emma took advantage of the chaos, making a break for the door. As they emerged into the bright sunlight, Jack turned back to see Ricky's furious face pressed against the warehouse window, his fists pounding against the glass in frustration. "We did it," Emma said, grinning from ear to ear. "We foiled Ricky's plan and saved Mom's morning treats." Jack grinned back, feeling a surge of pride and accomplishment. Time to get back to the diner and celebrate with some well-deserved pancakes. The sun shone brightly as Jack and Emma walked back to Mom's morning treats, the aroma of freshly cooked pancakes wafting through the air. They burst through the door, holding up the recovered recipe like a trophy. Mom beamed with pride, tears shining in her eyes. "I knew you two could do it." The diner erupted into cheers and applause as the staff and customers celebrated their victory. Jack and Emma took turns recounting their wild adventure, exaggerating just a bit for comedic effect. Mom laughed, shaking her head. "You two are something else. I'm glad you're on my side." As the celebration died down, Jack noticed Mr. Flapjack's rival diner across the street, its windows boarded up and a closed sign hanging in the door. "H-E-A," Jack exclaimed, pumping his fist in triumph. "Looks like our victory was the final nail in Mr. Flapjack's coffin." Emma grinned mischievously. "And now that we have the recipe back, let's make some pancakes to celebrate." The diner erupted into cheers and applause once more as Mom and her staff got to work on whipping up a batch of their famous pancakes. The aroma wafting from the kitchen was like nothing Jack had ever smelled before, sweet, fluffy, and utterly irresistible. His stomach growled in anticipation as he waited for the first batch to come out. Mom slid a stack of steaming hot pancakes onto the counter, topped with butter, syrup, and fresh fruit. Jack's eyes widened as he dug in, the flavors exploding on his tongue like a party in his mouth. This is the best thing I've ever tasted," Jack exclaimed, his mouth full of pancake goodness. Emma and Mom laughed, happy to see him enjoying himself so much. As they devoured their pancakes, Jack realized that this was more than just a victory. It was a celebration of friendship, teamwork, and the power of believing in yourself. He glanced over at Emma, who was grinning from ear to ear, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "Hey, Em," Jack said, his voice low and conspiratorial. "You think we've got what it takes to take on our next adventure?" Emma's grin grew even wider as she nodded enthusiastically. "I know we do, Jack. Bring it on."
Thank you for watching. Thanks for watching my short stories. Subscribe for more.